So, welcome to part three of the structure of presence. And I'm Dr. Mark Waller. This is my trusty sidekick, Christina Black.
Hello.
And every now and then she has to kick me in my side. So,
That's what a good partner does.
that's right. So, here are part one, two, and three. In part one, we talked about the field. We could call it the
Mm-hmm.
quantum field or, the field of consciousness and why it matters, how it creates our experience.
Mm-hmm.
In part two, we talked about how presence shapes reality. And today we're going to talk about the living structure of presence. And I just kind of want to tell a little story about this because I came to a realization when we were working on this together that, many of you who are listening are familiar with my lion unicorn model of relationships. And I'm sure many of you are already familiar with moment mindfulness, which is the thought watching practice we teach, which results in an awakening experience. And I have, for 30 years, been trying to figure out a container that will hold both of those together.
Mm.
And what I discovered in doing this research was that the harmonics of awareness is that container.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
really kind of excited about it. So
It's cool to see these parts of ourselves that are so fundamental and seem so unchangeable. And in some ways they are, but then to understand them so that they are changeable, that's pretty cool. It's like a way that you can release yourself from the things that weighed you down and you can soar. And we invite you to soar with us.
what I think is really cool for me is that this material has given me a structure to find presence that I never had before. So
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what to do and where to go to find it now. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
finding it, obviously. I'm discovering that it's inside of me and there's some things blocking it. And we're going to give you the key to what that is.
Right.
And so the
Yep.
first idea is that awakening is not an escape from life, it's aligning fully with your harmonic design.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk for a second about what harmonic design means because if you think about um, the field of awareness creating the universe, then everything you look around you is part of a design.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness is trying to experience itself, and it is designed a reality where it can do that. And so, this idea of awakening to align with your harmonic design, to me, it gives me a mental roadmap of what's actually happening.
Right. Well, and it's kind of interesting with this whole concept of like you don't have to go find presence. You have it
Uh-huh.
already. You just have to realize where it is in you.
Right.
And I feel similarly with this. It's like when you experience presence because of harmonics, you can't unknow it. It's like
That's true.
it's yeah, it's just there. You're there too, and you're there together. I don't know. It maybe doesn't sound that deep, but it is.
So, the idea here is that presence becomes lived when the mirror is no longer distorted. So, let's look over here. We are the mirror. So, here's a man looking in the mirror, and he
Mhm.
sees a clear, undistorted reflection of himself. And
Mhm.
presence is the moment when your harmonics of awareness line up, and we're going to talk about what those harmonics are. When they line up so the field can reflect clearly through you.
Mhm.
And when that reflection is clear, we experience presence.
Mhm.
So, what the goal for today is to find out what the distortions are that make the mirror no longer clear, and to be able to, kind of clear those up.
Mhm. I want to say too, like there's this whole sense of your body loosening up as your thinking straightens out and becomes healthy and supportive for you as well. And so just to kind of keep it in the back of your mind that this sense of opening up really does also open up your body
You know,
for if you're tight, you know.
I'm really glad you brought that up because Christina and I have been working together for quite some time. And I think this kind of container we've developed finally includes the psychology, the spirituality, and the body work all in one,
Mhm.
finally.
Yeah. Right.
So
So
it's kind of
exciting.
cool.
Yeah.
So, what we're here to do in this life, whatever this is to live our design. So, I have a design, Christina has a design, and we're supposed to become a standing wave of awareness instead of a collapsing wave into distortion. So, you can see
Mhm.
the wave on the left is a nice, clean sine wave, but the wave on the right kind of collapses. And what we're trying to do is live our design so this wave, which represents our awareness, does not collapse.
Mhm. Right.
So, a standing wave in physics is a standing wave, is a vibration that holds its shape.
Mhm.
And if you
So
want to
like
see
that
it
green one, like it could just be on a repeat pattern forever.
right,
It's
and I'll show
yeah.
you something similar there are the harmonics you can see, and I'll explain this diagram when we get to it here in a second.
Mhm.
But you can see that the wave on the left, it's a sine wave that just repeats over and over, and it's a
Right.
perfect sine wave.
Right.
The one on the right is, collapsing and it won't repeat.
Right.
So a
I
standing
know
wave,
I'm wondering about that shape. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's not like the best for the conversation for the show, but I know later you have a longer picture of the collapsed wave, and I think that'll be interesting knowing that the top half of the wave is like when it constructs itself and the bottom half of the wave is when it evaluates itself. It kind of just changes for me how to read the red one.
remind me of that when we get to that slide.
Okay.
So a standing wave is a vibration that holds its shape. If you ever want to see a harmonic wave that holds its shape, go to the internet and look up the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. And what happened to the Tacoma Narrows Bridge is there was a windstorm, and the speed of the wind matched the harmonics of the bridge, and the bridge began to vibrate, and it eventually came apart.
I feel like I've heard this and it's
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's crazy.
So instead of dissipating or collapsing, the energy flows back and forth in perfect balance, like a guitar string vibrating,
Mhm.
as the pattern stays visible even though the energy is moving.
Mhm.
Okay, so when we apply this idea to awareness, when you are coherent, your awareness is like a standing wave, and it sustains itself without collapsing. And those of you who are on a cell phone, I apologize for all the letters here, and I tried very much to make them as big as I could. So it sustains itself without collapsing into distortion. We're going to see that in a second. You can feel emotions. This is the concept that really kind of rung my bell when I discovered it. You can feel
Mhm.
the emotions, thoughts, and sensations. It's not about not feeling anything, but
Right.
they don't pull you out of alignment.
Right.
So this
Right.
structure of awareness down here, you can see it's the field. The field of awareness is the dotted line at zero. You can see the dashed line there.
Mhm.
That is the field of awareness that's completely undifferentiated. In other words, it's consciousness that doesn't know itself.
Hmm.
And then what consciousness does is it begins to fold itself into these harmonics in order to know itself. And in human terms, there are six harmonics, and we're going to talk about the first three today. But you hold the pattern of presence stable and resonant no matter what arises. And when you do that, you experience presence. Was that
So
too
cool.
dense?
I mean, I think that if it was my first time seeing it, it would be, I would need to see it a couple more times, hear it a couple more times. But you and I have had these conversations for a few weeks now. And so I'm getting more comfortable with it each time, I think. I would love
So,
to know too for the listener, is this confusing to you? Do you have questions about this?
and if you do, put
You
them in
know?
the comments so we can respond to it because
Yeah.
we really want you to understand this. So, this
Right.
beautiful diagram down here in the bottom with all those waves, that is the perfect harmony of the imprint of human harmonics expressed
Mhm.
in awareness.
Mhm.
And
Can I point out some things just for fun
go ahead.
on that picture? So what I love that Mark taught me was, so like everything, all the numbers for the the other waves are based on the first. So how there's one wave present on the first harmonic through that whole thing. There on the second one, there's two. On the third one, there's three whole waves within that whole frame. And so it's kind of fun. And they correspond to with becoming like a half as much or a third as much. And then
Right.
yeah, which is
So the
so, it's like
definition of
perfect how it works out.
a harmonic is it's an integer multiple of the fundamental.
Yeah.
So if
That's what I
you,
said, Mark.
it's okay, not correcting you. So if you
I'm
take
just teasing.
the fundamental, which is that big green sine wave, and you double it, then you get two in the same period. If you triple it, you get three sine waves in the same period. So that's the third harmonic of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is now people who are into energy work and stuff like that, if you look at this carefully, as you said, you'll see each succeeding harmonic is reduced in amplitude by the number of the harmonics. So the third
Mm-hmm.
harmonic is the third of the amplitude of the fundamental.
Excuse me. Whew.
That's why as you go up in frequency, it awareness becomes more and more delicate.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's move on. If you please give us some comments. We really what we've discovered here I think is elegant, but it's a little complicated and very different. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right. So collapsing instead of folding. Distortion is collapse. The awareness folds inward and contracts into survival mode, and this is very important concept because survival is at the root of why human awareness is distorted the way it is. Here's an example. You get triggered by someone's words, you collapse into blame, which is first harmonic distortion. We'll see that in a minute. Or you feel shame, you collapse into defensive identity, which is second harmonic distortion. Or you overthink, which means you collapse into thought loops or overthinking, which is third harmonic distortion. The
Mm-hmm.
standing wave doesn't reject these experiences, but it doesn't collapse into them. It absorbs them and stays stable.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Isn't that so
goal,
beautiful?
so the goal of awareness is the storm can be buffeting you around you, but you don't collapse into the drama.
Right. It's like we still want to fold. We still want the wave to fold, not collapse.
Right.
And so even in responding to the things that we are presented with, I feel like it's a helpful image for me to know like there's a way to respond to this without, losing my momentum, without losing the vibe I was in.
I think what you're saying is so true because I had the same conclusion myself. I suddenly realized that when I was allowing myself to collapse into distortion or emotional
Mhm.
reactivity and drama, I
Mhm.
was choosing not to experience presence.
Mhm. It's like I would allow the other shoe to drop to be an invitation to collapse.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, but we can fold. We don't have to collapse.
So to be
We
a
can
standing wave
respond.
means to hold the resonance of your awareness without collapsing into distortion, like a guitar string that keeps vibrating in harmony instead of snapping or going out of tune. Okay,
Here it
so
is. I'm supposed
this,
to remind you about this, Mark.
right. What are you supposed to remind me? I'm supposed to go here instead of there? No.
No, well, that's later. You told me to tell you when the longer collapsed
Oh,
wave
right.
picture comes up.
So here's an example. This is not obviously not a sine wave. It tries to repeat, but it's got so much distortion in it, it collapses.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a way of thinking about our awareness when we get snagged into blame and not taking responsibility and becoming
Mm-hmm.
emotionally reactive.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at the first harmonic of awareness, which is awareness of other. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine the undifferentiated field of awareness. Now, in human terms, this is happening literally trillions of times a second. You know, from the uh, from the point of view of consciousness, there's no
Right.
beginning or end. It's all
Right.
happening. So here is the dotted line at the zero line. That is undifferentiated awareness. That's the field of consciousness. And in each moment, let's say, although a moment's kind of a misnomer, it expresses creativity because it wants to see itself. And so it expresses this creativity in this series of harmonic sine waves.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're distorted, it all falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're perfect and undistorted, then it stands, in the storm, presence, and we feel present and we're unperturbed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the first harmonic of awareness is awareness of others. So you've got the undifferentiated field. Now it wants to become aware of itself, so it has to create another.
Right.
And so the first level of awareness is awareness of other. Now the other
Right.
could be an object, it could be a person, could be anything.
Mm-hmm. Just like
So
anything that's out there
anything that's
that can
other
be
than
observed.
undifferentiated awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So if awareness is coherent, the other is seen as a mirror, right? Just like where'd we go? This.
Mm-hmm.
So there's awareness looking at itself as other. Got
Mm-hmm.
it? Hopefully this is not too far in the weeds here.
No, it doesn't feel in the weeds to me. Just
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So wait a minute. Let's get back to here. So if awareness is coherent, the other is seen as a mirror, just as we saw in a second, as relational presence. If awareness is distorted, contracted into survival, which is the limbic system, the other is seen as a threat. And so the field's coherence is hijacked by survival contraction. It's misseeing the other as a threat instead of as a mirror because survival fear hijacks the relational fold of awareness and it
Mm-hmm.
produces avoidance. So we want to get away.
Okay. So this is when awareness is distorted, this
Yep.
happens.
That's when
It's
awareness
misty.
of other is distorted. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, Christina, when I see you as undistorted, I'm actually seeing a reflection of myself. If I see you and that reflection is distorted, I see somebody who potentially is not me and therefore a threat.
Interesting. Okay. I might have to wrap my mind around that one a little bit.
So that's that's distortion at the first harmonic of awareness. What about the
Why do you
second
say
one?
I'm seeing you? Are you saying because
Because
you are consciousness just like I am?
that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So we're not going to get up to the fifth level of consciousness, but at the fifth level of consciousness, we know everything is one.
Mm-hmm.
So my experience of you is an experience of myself in human
Hmm.
terms. You are a mirror for me. But if
Well, I mean, I think about that. We've talked about that kind of concept before in that your partner is your greatest spiritual teacher, but that
exactly.
you're meaning it in the same way or a different
Yes.
way.
No. No. So why is my partner my spiritual teacher? Because I'm seeing the thing about myself that I need to look at.
In them. Okay.
Because I'm looking in a mirror.
So it's not like you're watching me and Christina is Mark. It's like when we're together, you might be observing me, but it's showing you more about you.
Well,
And that's what you mean by it?
yeah, yeah. And when you think about it, where's Mark? I can't see Mark.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I can see is you.
Mm-hmm.
I have no experience of Mark. That's an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I'm experiencing is myself,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't see Mark.
Right. Maybe just
So,
like the top of his nose.
so that exactly. This is Douglas Harding's teaching
Mm-hmm.
on having no head.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no head. Everything is me is just everything out here
Right. You've
because
got a
I
body.
can't see the me who I think I am. I'm seeing everything else.
Right.
Okay, so now if my view of you as my partner, for instance, is distorted, then I'm going to see you as a separate threat and not a
Mm-hmm.
reflection of me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the other
Okay.
scene is a threat. Field coherence is hijacked by survival contraction, which is coming from the limbic system, and it's
Right.
misseeing the other as a threat because survival fear it hijacks the relational fold of awareness and produces avoidance. I want to get away. Fight or flight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the second level of awareness is awareness of self. So there's awareness of other. If I'm aware of another, I'm also aware of me now. So if that's
Mm-hmm.
coherent, then awareness of self is natural, transparent. You can be authentic. This is me without contraction. But if this becomes distorted through survival, the need for
Mm-hmm.
acceptance and approval hijacks awareness.
Mm. And
And,
we're all born that way. So this
and
is
so,
like everybody.
yes, well, yeah. Some of us have this problem, some of us have the first problem, and I'll show you in a second.
Right. That's what I'm
So,
saying. Yeah.
right.
There's just, yeah.
Yeah,
There's no avoiding one of them.
the
Or,
fact that we are born means we have to survive, and the survival strategies hijack awareness.
mm-hmm. Right.
If I'm
Yeah.
not
Even when I'm
approved
a
of,
little bit stressed, I'm in a different part of my mind than when I'm not stressed at all.
that's correct.
Yeah.
So if I'm not approved of, I won't belong and I will be rejected. The self contracts into nobody cares, I'm not good enough, and anger.
Whoop, whoop. Just
Okay.
kidding. That was my story before.
Okay, so now the final one we're going to talk about today is the third harmonic, awareness of thought. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
awareness of another, then I'm aware of self,
Mm-hmm.
and now I notice, oh, there's thinking going on, so I'm aware that there's thinking. I'm aware
Right.
that there's thought.
Right.
Okay, so in the coherent state, if I'm completely coherent and with no distortion, thought is transparent. Ideas, reflections, planning arise and dissolve. Awareness can use thought without being trapped inside it,
Cool. Right.
which I like the way that's said. In the distorted
Mm-hmm.
state, awareness fuses with thought and thought fuses with self. In neurological terms, the limbic system, emotions, default mode network, self referencing, and the anterior cingulate gyrus, which basically turns pain into suffering. collaborate to generate a coherent narrative of me,
Mm-hmm.
a me that lives in the head. This narrative becomes the ego, not just a defense, but a whole psychological organism that must be protected and survive at all costs.
Yeah, it becomes its own character in your
Right,
head.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got to figure out how are we gonna deal with this. Here we are. We have to clear
Right.
these distortions.
Right.
Okay, so let's see. So distortion happens when survival conditioning, unprocessed emotions, or false identifications bend the mirror of our awareness. And
Okay.
here is our awareness. And so let's look at this. Um,
And so it's like these things were ways you were taught to not be yourself, and taught to see things differently, and that's something that can be relearned and retaught.
well, basically, you're right. What's happening is now because we have this survival imperative going on and this ego that needs to be permanent, now we're trapped.
Right. Right. And if we're all born that way, then good. Lucky for those of us that find this, info, whether it's through a channel like this or, you know, reading old mystic things, or
So at this
it's just
point,
cool there's vehicles.
we're going to find out whether you have problems at level 1 or level 2.
Yeah. Take our quiz.
And so you can, if you'd like to take our quiz, you'll find out whether you're a lion or a unicorn.
If you pause the video, we'll wait for you.
Yeah, that's right. Pause the video, scan the QR code. There's a 9-question quiz, and as soon as you're done, it'll come up and tell you you're a lion or a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully everybody
Mm-hmm.
does that and enjoys the process.
Mm-hmm.
So if the answer was if you are a unicorn, then you need to focus on distortions in level 1 harmonic of awareness, which involves awareness of others. Because
Okay, and
people
how
who
will
are,
they focus on it?
well, I'm going to show you.
Okay.
This involves awareness of others. The emotions you're going to be experiencing if you have distortions at the first level of awareness is fear and anxiety, and your defensive behaviors are going to be avoidance and resistance. And the goal of a unicorn is safety. So the number one imperative for somebody trying to survive is safety, right?
Right.
So unicorns struggle with level 1 harmonic distortions in their awareness because they see others as a threat. Not everybody, but usually the primary relationship becomes a threat.
Mm-hmm.
So just hold that in mind for a second. If you turn out to be a lion, focused on distortions in level 2 harmonic of awareness. This involves awareness of self. So what are the emotions? The emotions are shame, feeling like
Mm-hmm.
you're not good enough, like nobody cares about you. And the defensive
Mm-hmm.
behaviors are, oops, Christina, you disappeared. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I was so focused on awareness of self.
So, unicorns are safety seekers. Lions are approval seekers. Okay, now what do
Right.
we do? What do we do with this information? So, in order to clear this up, level 1 and 2 distortions are always related to early childhood emotional learning, as you said just a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the exercise you can do. When you notice that you're feeling anxious or fearful, or you're feeling shamed or put down or criticized or not important, all you need to do is, and you can do this the next day if you don't remember right away.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember the emotion you were experiencing and then just ask this open-ended question. How is this related to my childhood? And you may have to
Mm-hmm.
ask this question for several weeks but you will eventually start
Right.
getting, you get images and memories that tell you where these distortions came from in your childhood.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but I've got a
And
better
it's
way of
nice to
doing
clear
this.
the slate. Yeah. Go
Go ahead.
ahead. Well, I was just thinking it's nice to clear the slate. If this is maybe among one of the first times someone's thinking about doing this kind of digging into their life, like it can be uncomfortable sometimes in the middle of it a little bit, but the load that it takes off your nervous system and your body and your mind after is makes it more than worth it. So I would encourage you to be brave and to ask the questions.
And remember, this is all against the backdrop of experiencing presence.
Right.
So these distortions in level 1 and 2 awareness are preventing us from being present.
Right. Yeah.
And that's ultimately the goal here.
And I notice it makes my ADHD better. My experience of having ADHD better after I do some of this work. It's
Uh huh.
like there's less chaos going on in my head, less noise, less static, and I
So,
can just get back into the task I want to think about.
okay, so speaking of less noise in your head,
Mhm.
level 3 is awareness of thought. And so, what we want to focus on is disidentification from thought, because identification with thought supports the harmonic distortions at every level of awareness, not just level 3.
Yeah, it affects everything. That's so cool.
And so, if you want to, if you're listening to this and you want to skip to level 3 and then go back to 1 and 2, you will find if you can master what we're going to show you now, level 1 and 2 are going to be much easier.
So if I could, I just had this thought. If I wanted to do this and I wanted to start with clearing distortions on level 3, and then I wanted to go back and finish 1 or 2, could I hypothetically go through all of the fields of awareness asking these questions? Like, what does this have to do with my early childhood learning, or only the first two would that work with?
In my view, at this point, in my understanding of what we're explaining here, is only level 1 and 2.
Okay.
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 Because when you get beyond level 3, it's about awareness of basically the unity of all things, and then awareness of the stillness from which everything emerges, and they have nothing really to do with survival at that point.
Right. That's when you get past survival and you're like working on thriving. Right. Would
Yep.
that be accurate?
Well, you're basically working on the death of the ego. The distortions in the higher levels have to do with how the ego wants to be permanent, and it keeps you, what you discover, I believe eventually is the insistence on being an individual is an act of violence against the field, because it covers up the fact that there's oneness, and you can't experience oneness if you're trying to survive, because the limbic system and the biological imperative wants you to die so I can live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Right.
never I'm never going to experience the continuity of the field through us all, through the entire awareness, if I insist on taking that stance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, thanks for explaining that.
So, but we're not going to get to those levels today.
You sure?
Okay, so this is the exercise to free distortions at level 3,
Mm-hmm.
and we
So
call this
good.
moment mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And why don't you explain it, since you developed this excellent illustration?
Sure. So, the exercise moment mindfulness starts with sitting with your eyes open, and you want to be in a calm mood. You're just going to wait for the next everyday thought to run through your head, and your job is to become like aware that it happened. And then when you see it's happened, you've done the job and you're done. The thought might be something like, what if I don't have a next thought? Or, um, I'd like to go for a walk, or, there's a pen over there. And just as long as they're not emotional. And then what we don't want to do is turn back on really re-engage the ego. So we don't really analyze the thought that comes up. We don't talk back to the thought that comes up. We're not wondering where it came from. And these all would then keep the ego engaged. And we're trying to take a break from that. And this is helpful for that. So you should notice that your mind is quieter afterwards, and that it's easier to like over time realize that this voice that is talking to you, using your voice talking to you, is not actually you. It feels other than you over time.
So the main distortion at level 3 of awareness is the identification with thought. And this exercise breaks the identification.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a moment where you suddenly disidentify and you realize that voice in your head is not who you are.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so you just do this on simple, everyday, ordinary thoughts. Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Yep. You want
So
to wait. You want them to be emotional, because that would be like engaging the limbic system a lot,
we
like
don't
that.
want to engage fight or flight.
Right. Well, this is supposed to be a calm moment of mindfulness.
So so now if you're having trouble with this, contact us. You can scan this QR code and it'll take you to a form. You can get in touch with us. There will also be an email address in the show notes. You can email us, and we have lots of different ways of helping you get through this. We also have an online community called Thought Masters,
Mm-hmm.
where people who are learning these things are, kind of forming a community to
Congregating.
support
Yes.
themselves. And there will be a link for Thought Masters in the show notes as well. Okay?
Pretty good stuff.
I
Please
know
let
this
us
is,
know if you have any questions, if you have any ideas, if you want to talk about any of your experiences with harmonics. We're interested.
this whole concept is new and it's different. And it might be a little hard to explain. And if it was, I apologize. We're still grappling with how elegant this is and how to just explain it simply.
Mm-hmm. I know this has been the best iteration yet.
Okay, good.
This has been the fourth time through for you.
This is part 3.
Right, but I mean, like, of trying to work this into like a way that you can deliver it, a deliverable way.
Well, yeah, we did one recording we trashed and started over again. So
Yeah. I know it's hard. It's hard. This is hard work. You guys tell Mark good job, because he's working his butt off for you.
it's been a challenge, and I think next week we're going to record an issue about the program will be about how we discover this, where it came from.
Mm,
So
cool.
I'll give you a little preview there. All right.
Neat.
Remember, mastering thought is the key to unlocking your potential.
Until next time, look deeper, live bolder. See you later.
See you, everybody. Bye bye.